Hello future RNs. Okay, so for today, ang pag-uusapan natin is all about your sickle cell disease. Okay, so sickle cell disease constitute a group of diseases termed hemoglobinopathies, okay, in which your hemoglobin A is partly or completely replaced by abnormal sickle hemoglobin S. So, ibig sabihin, hemoglobinopathies, there is a problem with your hemoglobin. Okay, so ang problem dito kay sickle cell disease is that, sabi natin dito, yung mismong, di ba, yung mismong structure, okay, ng normal na RBC natin, it contains hemoglobin A. Okay, if naaalala nyo pa rin yung mismong globulin chain natin. But, with your sickle cell disease, the problem here is that, it's either, okay, napalitan, completely or partly, yung mismong mga hemoglobin A natin into your sickle cell, or sickle hemoglobin S natin. Or yun yung tinatawag natin na, okay, HGBS. Okay, so your HGBS, that is your sickle hemoglobin gene. Okay, that is your sickle hemoglobin gene. Okay, wherein this sickle hemoglobin gene, it is actually defective. Okay, defective po siya. Okay, meron po siyang defective hemoglobin molecule. So, pagdating sa incidence, nurses, ng ating sickle cell disease, okay, it is most common, kanina po siya mas common na race, common po siya, okay, sa mga Black Americans. Okay, so if you are part of the Black Americans, okay, mataas, okay, it is considered that you have a higher risk, okay, to develop your sickle cell disease. So, ngayon, dito sa ating sickle cell anemia, sickle cell disease, okay, as you can see, okay, dun sa illustration natin, sabi natin kanina, yung mismong normal structure dapat ng isang RBC, ganito dapat siya. Okay, and then as you can see, dun sa mismong normal RBC section natin, nandito yung mismong hemoglobin natin. So, dapat ganyan siya. But in the case of your sickle cell disease, okay, what happens here is that nagiging sickle siya, or there is an abnormal hemoglobin form strands, okay, it forms a strands that cause sickle shape. Okay, kaya siya tinawag na sickle kasi para siyang crescent moon yung kanyang shape ng ating mga RBC. So ngayon, if that happens, remember, bakit nga ba nangyayari itong sickle cell disease natin, since sabi natin kanina because of the presence of your sickle hemoglobin gene natin, wherein this sickle hemoglobin gene, it is very sensitive saan? This one is very sensitive to the changes in your oxygen content in your RBC. Ibig sabihin, once na na-expose po ang ating mga, ang ating mga sickle hemoglobin gene na yan, or yung mga sickle RBC na yan, into a very low oxygen level, anong pwedeng mangyari? That's the time na nagbabago po yung kanyang shape. Okay, nagbabago po yung kanyang shape. Wherein, sabi natin kanina, ano ba ang normal dapat? Ano ba dapat ang normal na shape ng ating RBC? It should be round. Diba? What else? It should be biconcave. Okay, biconcave. And aside from that one, it should be in a pliable shape. Wherein, ibig sabihin pag biconcave siya, ibig sabihin pag round, ibig sabihin pag pliable siya, mas nagiging flexible po siya. Okay, so every time na yung mga RBC natin, they are being transported sa ating mga microcirculation or dun sa mga maliliit na blood vessels natin, kayang-kaya pong daluyan ng dugo, it's because of their structure. Structure na round, biconcave, and aside from that, pliable, ibig sabihin, mas naka-fold po siya, nagpa-fold po siya, nagiging flexible po siya, para sa ganon, makapasok po yung mga yan doon sa ating mga micro-circulation. Pero ibahin natin kay sickle cell. Pagdating kay sickle cell disease, sabi natin kanina, once na expose yung ating RBC na merong, tawag dito, na merong HGBS, or sickle hemoglobin gene, anong nangyayari sa kanila? Pag gumabang oxygen, what happens? Nagiging bago yung kanyang shape, nagbabago yung kanyang anyo. Nagiging ganito po siya. That's why, if that happens, okay, yung mismong mga RBC natin, ano nangyayari sa kanilang shape? Mas nagiging rigid po sila. And yung tinatawag natin kanina na sickled shape. O, diba? Para siyang crescent moon ang kanyang itsura. So, if that happens, since naging rigid siya, Okay, pwede bang mabarahan yung mismong blood flow natin? Yes, it's because once na naging rigid siya, once na naging sickle shape, yung ating mga abnormal na RBC, they are going to what? They are going to clump together. Ibig sabihin, if they're going to clamp, dumidikit po sila or they tend to what? They tend to adhere doon sa mga walls ng ating mga small blood vessels or yung mga capillaries natin. If that happens, pag dumikit po sila doon sa ating mga walls ng ating mga small blood vessels, nagkakaroon ng accumulation of your sickled cells or sickled na RBC natin. And if that happens, okay, nagkaroon ng accumulation ng mga sickled cells natin blocking or obstructing your blood flow, that will lead to what? That will lead to possible ischemia. Bakit? Nagkakaroon ng hypoxia dahil bumababa ang oxygen level or in the long run, pwedeng mag-cause yan ng tinatawag natin na infarction. So ngayon, itong tinatawag natin na tawag dito, pagdating sa assessment natin ng mga patient na merong sickle cell, meron po tayong tinatawag na sickle cell crisis. Wherein pag sinabi natin sickle cell crisis, this is your what? This is your tinatawag natin na sickling process. Okay, this is your sickling process or the other way around, tinatawag po siyang sickling response. Wherein, ano nga bang nagkakos ng ating sickle cell crisis? It is due to what? It is due to your decreased oxygenation. Okay? So ngayon, pagdating kay sickle cell crisis, is it usually, tawag dito, is it a reversible one or irreversible one? Definitely your sickle cell crisis, pwede po siyang i-reverse. Ibig sabihin, they are considered as reversible po siya. By how, paano po natin mare-reverse yung mismong problem natin, okay, or yung mismong exacerbation ng tinatawag natin na sickle cell crisis? By simply improving your oxygenation. Okay? Or dapat magkaroon tayo ng adequate na oxygenation. Kasi in the first place, bakit nga ba nagbabago yung shape or yung mismong structure ng ating mga abnormal na RBC? It's because na-expose sila sa kulang na oxygen. So, to prevent that one, since yung mismong sickling process natin, it takes time, okay, para magkaroon ng sickling process, then we have to reverse it, okay, by providing adequate oxygenation. Okay, so yung mismong sickle cell crisis natin, meron po tayong tatlo dyan. Meron tayong tatlong klase. We have your number 1, we have your vaso-occlusive crisis. Okay, what else? We have your splenic sequestration, and then lastly, we have your aplastic crisis natin. So, mag-start muna tayo with your vaso-occlusive crisis. So, yung vaso-occlusive crisis natin, sabi natin nurses, this is the most common type. Okay, this is the most common type of your sickle cell crisis natin. Okay, so this is the most common type wherein, okay, pag sinabi natin vaso-occlusive, okay, vaso, we are pertaining to your blood vessels. Occlusive, we are pertaining to occlusion or merong obstruction. And if that happens, tandaan natin nurses, bakit nga ba nagkakaroon ng exacerbation ng ating sickle cell crisis? Sabi natin kanina, it's because there is a decrease in the level of your oxygen. So ano nga ba usually yung mga factors or yung mga activities that could tawag dito, that could cause or that could exacerbate your sickle cell crisis? Number 1, okay, kapag tayo ay na-expose sa cold. Okay, pag tayo na-expose sa cold temperature, remember, pag na-expose tayo sa cold temperature, that will lead to what? What will happen with our blood vessels? That will lead to vasoconstriction. And pag nagkaroon ng vasoconstriction, what will happen with our blood flow? Magdi-decrease din po ang ating blood flow. And there are also other factors that could exacerbate your sickle cell crisis. Okay, any condition, no, that could increase, okay, that could increase your need for oxygen, ano pa, and even if there is an alteration dun sa mismong oxygen transport natin. Okay? If there is an alteration dun sa mismong oxygen transport natin, like what? Ano ba yung mga condition na yun? Possible, for example, pag si patient nagkaroon ng fever, kapag si patient nagkaroon ng dehydration, and then lastly, kapag si patient nakakaranas ng emotional and physical stress, and that will lead to what? Exacerbation of your sickle cell crisis. And ang number 1 example or type ng ating sickle cell crisis, we have your vaso-occlusive crisis. And this is the most common type of your sickle cell crisis. Ngayon, bakit nga ba nagkakaroon? Paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng vaso-occlusive crisis? Remember, sabi natin kanina, dahil nagbago yung mismong shape ng ating RBC, nagkumpul-kumpulan sila, dumikit sila doon sa mismong vessel wall natin, doon sa mga microcirculation natin. What will happen? Babagal ba ang flow ng ating blood? Yes, babagal ang flow ng ating blood, and that will lead to stasis of your blood. And if that happens, pag nagkaroon ng stasis ng blood, what will happen? That's the time na mas mag-accumulate or mas magklaklamp yung mga sickle cells natin in your microcirculation. Okay? Mas magklaklamp, mas mag-accumulate yung mismo mga sickle cells natin in your microcirculation. And if nagkaroon ng accumulation, okay, na-impede or na-obstruct natin yung mismong microcirculation natin, meron pa bang enough na blood flow? Decrease ang blood flow, malamang decrease din ang oxygen natin. And of course, pag-decrease ang oxygen status or level, nagkakaroon tayo ng decrease in your tissue perfusion that will lead to possible ischemia and even infarction. Okay? That will lead to possible ischemia and infarction. Like for example, meron tayong illustration dito kanina, di ba? For example, this is the part, okay, kung saan, for example, this is your microcirculation. Normally, ganito dapat siya. Okay, walang any stasis, hindi mabagal ang blood flow natin dyan. But in the case of your sickle cell, since nagbago yung shape ng ating mga RBC, nagkumpul-kumpulan sila dito, what will happen to this part? Malamang wala na siyang enough na blood flow, wala na ding enough na oxygen. Kaya anong mangyayari? There will be what? Inflammatory response, diba? Pag nagkaroon ng inflammatory response, there will be a release ng ating mga chemical mediators like your prostaglandin and your bradykinin. That's why, pag nagkaroon po tayo ng vaso-occlusive crisis, ano ang kanyang manifestation? Pwede siyang magkaroon ng painful sensation. Sobrang sakit po niyan. And remember, nurses, yung sickle cell disease natin, ito po ang isa sa mga sakit or diseases worldwide na pwedeng ma-experience ng isang tao that will have a very painful sensation. So, ano ulit yung mga manifestation natin kapag si patient nagkaroon ng vaso-occlusive crisis dahil na-obstruct or na-occlude yung mismong blood flow natin? Number 1, pwede siyang magkaroon ng fever due to your inflammatory response. Pwede siyang makaramdam ng pain. Ano pa? Pwedeng magkaroon niya ng tissue engorgement. Okay? Lalaki yung iba't ibang tissue kung saan man ang affected. Dun saan kung nagkaroon ng obstruction ng microcirculation. What else? Since microcirculation ang pag-uusapan natin, pwede siyang magkaroon ng what? Pwede siyang magkaroon ng painful swelling. With what parts? Painful swelling of their hands. Ano pa? With their feet. And even with their joints. And aside from that one, since sabi natin, it vary, no? Kung saan yung mismo location na nagkaroon ng sickling, definitely, pwede rin siyang magkaroon or magmanifest ng abdominal pain. Why? It's because possible, tawag dito, nagkaroon ng tinatawag na na abdominal infarction. So, magmamanifest na magkakaroon siya ng pain dun sa kanyang abdomen. And remember, pag sa mga bata, okay, ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-first sign na makikita natin that there's really an infarction due to your sickle cell crisis or yung tinatawag natin na colic. Okay, pagdating sa mga bata. Okay, this is usually your first sign na ibig sabihin there's really a sickling process or sickling response. Okay, next naman tayo here with your splenic sequestration. Pag sinabi naman nating splenic sequestration, usually, nandun na yung word natin splenic, ibig sabihin ang affected here is your spleen. Okay, ibig sabihin ng sequestration, there is a congestion. Okay, there is a congestion or there is a pooling. Okay, merong pooling and clumping of your blood saan? Doon sa mismong spleen natin. Okay, there is a pooling and clumping or nag-cause siya ng congestion doon sa mismong spleen ng pasyente natin na merong sickle cell disease. And usually, pagdating sa mga bata, okay, sa mga young children natin, ano makikita natin sa kanila? Sabi natin, the most common site of your the most common site of your sequestration, it's in your spleen. Okay? Pagdating naman sa mga children over 10 years old, okay, upon assessment, okay, ano makikita natin sa spleen ng bata since nung during their younger years, okay, there is already a pooling and clumping of blood in their spleen. Pagtungtong ng bata over 10 years old, ano na ang kanyang ano na ang nangyari dun sa kanyang spleen? Ang makikita dun sa kanyang spleen upon assessment, meron ng infarction. Okay, meron ng infarction, infarcted dun yung kanyang spleen, and aside from that one, it's no longer functional. Hindi na siya nag-work. And remember, ano bang ginagawa ng spleen natin? Your spleen, that works by how? It works by ine-engulf niya natin or tawag dito, kinakain niya lahat ng mismong mga nasisira na RBC natin. Okay? If that's already not functional, ibig sabihin, magkakaroon ng problema yung pasyente natin. That's why makikita natin sa kanila, pag nagkaroon niya ng splenic sequestration, possible, lalaki yung kanyang spleen or nagkakaroon siya ng splenomegaly. And for adults naman, with the common site of your sequestration, it's no longer with the spleen, but it is already in your liver and in their lungs. Okay, so yan po yung tinatawag natin na splenic sequestration. What will be the clinical manifestation? So there is already a splenic sequestration. Of course, makikita natin sa patient natin, pwede sila magkaroon ng profound anemia. Okay, what else? Pwede siya magkaroon ng hypovolemia. And then lastly, we have your shock. Okay, so those are the common manifestations or signs and symptoms na possible si patient nagkaroon ng splenic sequestration. Okay, so next naman tayo here, last we have your aplastic crisis. Sir, bakit aplastic? Bakit hindi po ito kabilang sa aplastic anemia natin? It's because pagdating sa aplastic crisis, kabilang po ito as part of your tinatawag natin na sickle cell crisis under your sickle cell disease. Ibig sabihin, pag nagkaroon ng aplastic crisis ang pasyente natin, what happens? There is already a diminish. Okay, nagkaroon ng diminish production and rapid or increased destruction of your RBC. From the words of aplastic, there is a diminished production and there is a massive or increased destruction of your RBC. Ano usually nagkukos kung bakit possible magkakaroon si patient ng aplastic crisis? Number one, okay, pwedeng matitrigger itong aplastic crisis na to by how? It is usually triggered by viral infection. Okay, by viral infection like what? Number one, we have your human parvovirus. Okay, pwede itong matrigger kapag tayo ay na-infect ng tinatawag natin na human parvovirus. What else pag tayo ay na-infect ng human influenza? Okay? Kapag tayo nagkaroon or kapag nagkaroon tayo ng contact with, for example, kanino ba nakikita si parvo natin, di ba? Sa mga pets natin like your dogs, your cats, di ba? Usually, ang manifestation niyan is pwede sila magkaroon ng gastroenteritis, pwede sila magkaroon ng nausea and vomiting, magkaroon ng excessive diarrhea. But remember, kapag normal naman na tao, hindi siya nakapag-inherit ng sickle cell or yung sickle hemoglobin gene natin, definitely hindi sila magkakaroon ng aplastic crisis. But kapag ang isang tao meron or kapag naka-inherit siya ng mismong sickle hemoglobin gene natin, okay, or depende dun sa mismong affinity ng gene ng isang tao, and once na nagkaroon sila ng in contact, okay, with human parvovirus, which is usually ang kanyang mode of transmission is fecal-oral. Okay, so pag yun ang nangyari, nagkaroon siya ng transmission or nagkaroon siya ng contact with your human parvovirus or parvovirus from animals, pwedeng magkaroon si patient ng aplastic crisis. Okay? So, aside from your, aside from your viral infection that could trigger your aplastic crisis, it is also due to what? Nagkaroon ng depletion, saan? Depletion dun sa mismong folic acid natin. Okay, folic acid. Remember, yung mismong folic acid natin, isa yan sa mga requirements para magkapag-form tayo ng matured na RBC. That's why, si patient natin na merong aplastic crisis, what will happen? Pwede siya magkaroon ng profound anemia and pallor. Bakit siya nagkakaroon ng profound anemia? It's because yung mismong bone marrow already ng pasyente natin, hindi niya na kayang mag-compensate kasi mismo sa mismong bone marrow na ang merong problem. Therefore, pag hindi niya kayang mag-produce ng RBC, meron ka bang makikita na mga immature na RBC na pwedeng mag-distribute sa ating mismong bloodstream? Definitely wala. That's why wala ding reticulocytes. And that will indicate or that will prove na si patient meron talagang problem dun sa kanyang bone marrow. Okay, in the case of your aplastic crisis as part of your sickle cell crisis natin. So, as you can see here, yung mismong illustration natin, sabi natin kanina, yung mismong ano natin, yung mismong assessment natin, it vary. Okay, hindi lang tayo dapat pwedeng mag-base doon sa mismong amount ng mismong abnormal gene that is actually present in the body. But, nakadepende yan kung ano yung mismong mga manifestation natin. So, makikita natin dito, si patient, pag nagkaroon, for example, ng occlusion saan? Okay, nagkaroon siya ng occlusion dun sa kanyang eyes. Okay, di ba part yan ng microcirculation, pwede siya magkaroon ng retinopathy, that can also lead to possible blindness. Okay, and even with your hemorrhage as well. Okay, what else? Kapag yung mismong, sickling response or process natin dun sa mismong lungs natin, what will happen? Pwede siya magkaroon ng infarction, pwede siya magkaroon ng pneumonia. What else? Chest syndrome and pulmonary hypertension, and of course, your lung collapse, which is your atelectasis. Kapag sa puso naman po, ang tinamaan or nagkaroon ng mismong sickling process or response, pwede siya magkaroon ng heart failure. Kapag sa mismong liver naman, and their gallbladder, pwede siyang lumaki ang kanyang liver, nagkakaroon ng engorgement ng kanyang liver, that will lead to hepatomegaly. Pwede siya magkaroon ng bato or your formation of your gallstones natin. And kapag sa spleen naman, okay, yan, pwedeng mag-lead yan into your splenomegaly. Kapag sa ihi naman, due to your destruction, so sabi natin kanina, itong mga sickled, itong mga sickled RBC natin, mabilis lang po silang masira. Dahil nga abnormal yung kanilang structure. So pag yan ang nangyari, nagkaroon ng hemolysis, okay, that will lead to possible profound anemia. Kaya pag yan, yung mismong mga nasira na RBC natin, pupunta siya sa mismong ihi, yan, magpapakita yan, pwede siya magkaroon ng hematuria, pwede siya magkaroon ng abdominal pain, yung sinasabi natin kanina, because of the possible engorgement or tissue engorgement dun sa mismong kanyang abdomen. Okay, pwede rin siya magkaroon ng priapism. Okay, sa mismong reproductive problem naman po to, wherein pag sinabi kasi nating priapism is, pwede siya magkaroon ng problem dun sa kanyang pagtigas. For example, sa mga kalalakihan, pagtigas ng kanyang ngiti pyroid or sa kanyang titi, for example. Kasi in the first place, kahit wala namang any stimuli, since due to your the presence of your sickling or sickled RBC, for example, dun sa mismong daluyan ng dugo papunta sa kanyang ari, pwede siyang magkaroon ng priapism. Same also with your bone. Okay, sa mga bone natin, pwedeng mag-lead yan into severe pain, and aside from that, pwede siya magkaroon ng inflammatory diseases or infectious diseases like your osteomyelitis. Pag sa brain naman po ang tinamaan, okay, nagkaroon ng sickling dun sa daluyan ng dugo papunta sa brain, pwede siya magkaroon ng stroke, paralysis, and even death. Okay, aside from that one, we also have your vascular necrosis dun sa kanyang shoulder and hip. Okay, and of course, we also have your dactylitis or your hand-foot syndrome, wherein, kumbaga, para nagkakaroon siya ng sugat-sugat, okay, sa kanyang mga kamay, sa kanyang mga paa, okay, without even, okay, any external factor, like for example, without the presence of your, without any reason, okay, or without any form of your for example, nagkaroon siya ng, nasugatan siya, basta nagsusugat siya ng kahit walang any external factor. Okay, nagsusugat siya by its own because of the presence of your sickling RBC in your circulation. Okay? So, yan po yung mga pwedeng maging complication ng ating tinatawag na sickle cell disease. Okay, so now let's proceed with your laboratory findings natin. Of course, how can we find out, okay, na possible meron ka palang sickle cell disease? It is through your number 1, we have your sickle cell turbidity test. Okay, so sickle cell turbidity test, ginagawa po siya by how? Okay, by a finger stick. Okay, we perform on blood from a finger stick, blood test from a finger stick. Okay, finger stick po ang ginagamit natin, and usually it yields for ilang minutes yung hihintayin natin para makita natin yung mismong result. It is usually within 3 minutes. And kapag nag-positive po tayo ngayon, dyan sa ating sickle turbidity test na tinatawag natin, okay, the next test is na kailangan natin i-underwent is your hemoglobin electrophoresis. Okay, wherein, dito natin madidistinguish, okay, between yung mga bata na merong sickle cell disease, kapag ang na-inherit nila is just the trait. Okay, pag sinabi kasi nating trait, milder form lang po yan ng ating sickle cell disease. Or, sa mga bata, okay, we can distinguish if meron talaga silang yung mismong sickle cell disease. Okay, is it a trait only or yung mismong sickle cell disease? So, yan po yung mismong mga lab findings natin, okay, to test, okay, para ma-determine natin if there is a sickle cell disease. Okay, so now let's proceed with our mga management natin, okay, for your sickle cell disease natin. So mag-start tayo ngayon with our number 1 management. Since sabi natin kanina, okay, ang isa sa mga reason kung bakit tayo pwede magkaroon ng exacerbation of your sickle cell crisis is that any activities or any factors that could lead, okay, or that could increase, okay, the demand or requirement of your oxygen status. And of course, aside from that one, okay, any condition, okay, that could impair yung mismong oxygen transport in our body. Number 1 dyan, we have your dehydration. Nasabi natin kanina yan, we have your dehydration, we have your fever as well. So ngayon, of course, to prevent that one, since sabi natin kanina, reversible naman po yung mismong sickle cell crisis natin. Of course, we have to maintain your adequate hydration and your blood flow. By how? By administering oral and intravenous fluids natin. Para sa ganon, okay, without adequate hydration kasi pwedeng magkaroon ng exacerbation of your sickle cell crisis, and that will lead to painful sensations. Okay, so with that, okay, kailangan nating magbigay ng enough or adequate na hydration para sa ganon, makontrol po natin yung mismong pain na pwedeng ma-experience ng patient natin. What else? We have to administer your oxygen and your blood transfusion. Kasi sabi natin kanina, bakit nga ba nag-change yung mismong shape ng ating mismong mga RBC or mga abnormal RBC natin? It's because of the exposure to decreased amount of your oxygen in your body. Okay? So, what else? With this, okay, with this management, okay, we could increase your what? Kailangan nating increase ang kanyang tissue perfusion. Okay, para hindi tayo magkaroon ng infarction in your ischemia. And aside from that one, okay, we can actually perform, pagdating sa BT, your tinatawag natin na exchange transfusion. Okay, wherein in this exchange transfusion, ano pang nangyayari? We're going to decrease the number of what? Decrease the number of your circulating sickle cells natin in your circulation. Para sa ganun, ma-prevent po natin yung mismong possible complication ng sickle cell disease. Okay, what else you have here? Pagdating sa ating mga drug therapy, we have to administer your hydroxyurea. Okay, yung hydroxyurea natin, this is an example of your tawag dito, anti-metabolites na gamot. Okay, part of your chemotherapeutic drugs natin. Okay, that could cause suppression of your bone marrow as well. Wherein, with your hydroxyurea, since sabi natin kanina, nagkakaroon ng partly or completely changes or tawag dito, nare-replace po natin yung mismong hemoglobin A natin with your abnormal hemoglobin gene natin. We have to prevent the formation of your sickle shape RBC natin by giving your anti-metabolites para ma-prevent natin yung mismong formation ng ating sickle shape anemia natin. Sickle shape RBC natin. Okay, so with that, aside from that one, ang ginagawa kasi ng ating hydroxyurea is that ini-increase yung mismong level ng ating tinatawag na fetal hemoglobin. Okay, yung fetal hemoglobin or yung mismong hemoglobin F na tinatawag natin. Wherein, pag na-increase po kasi natin yung mismong level ng hemoglobin F natin, that's the time na mas madidecrease natin yung presence ng ating hemoglobin S or yung mismong sickle hemoglobin gene natin. Okay? And aside from that one, we also have here your antibiotics. Why? Why do we need to give antibiotics? Sabi natin kanina, si patient, pwede siya magkaroon ng mga infectious diseases like your osteomyelitis natin. So, we have to prevent your infection by giving your antibiotics natin. Okay, what else? We have to provide or administer your analgesics. Okay, round the clock po dapat yung pagbigay natin ng ating RBC. And sabi natin kanina, since sobrang painful okay, ang pwedeng maranasan ng tao na nagkakaroon ng sickle cell crisis, we have to administer yung mga iba't ibang types ng analgesics natin. May it be an opioid one or non-opioid analgesic. Like for example, acetaminophen, okay, ano pa, and eventually yung mismong opioid analgesic, pag sobrang sakit talaga ng pwedeng ma-experience ng patient natin, we can give your morphine. Okay, we can administer your morphine natin. Okay, aside from that one, since nasabi natin kanina non-opioid analgesic, okay, we can give non-opioid analgesics, but meron tayong exception for that one. We cannot give your aspirin. Okay, why? Bakit hindi tayo pwedeng magbigay ng aspirin? Because your aspirin, it enhances your, what? It enhances your, tinatawag natin na acidosis natin. Okay, it enhances your acidosis, and pag nagkaroon tayo ng acidosis, okay, it will promote your sickling again. Okay? So, we have to remember that pwedeng magbigay ng any other types of your analgesics like your NSAID, for example, except kay aspirin natin. Okay? And then aside from that one, we have to assist the child to assume a comfortable position. Why? Bakit kailangan natin gawin to? By how? Anong gagawin natin dito? We have to keep the extremities, okay? We have to keep the extremities extended dapat. Okay? We have to keep the extremities extended. Bakit? That is just to simply promote your venous return. Okay, para mas maayos natin yung mismong tinatawag natin na venous return or yung mismong circulation pabalik kay heart natin. Okay, and aside from that one, okay, we have to instruct our patient, okay, to consume a high calorie, what else? High protein diet with folic acid supplementation. Okay, para sa ganon is ma-maintain natin, okay, with your folic acid kasi, okay, we could maintain your tinatawag natin na erythropoiesis, diba? Or yung mismong production ng ating RBC. Okay, to maintain your erythropoiesis, okay, just to counterpart yung mismong effect ng ating hemolytic or ng ating hemolysis na tinatawag, dahil sabi natin kanina, yung mismong mga RBC natin that are considered as abnormal or yung mga sickle cell or sickled RBC natin, mas mabilis po silang masira. Para hindi sila magkaroon ng anemia, okay, we can give your folic acid supplementation as well. And aside from that one, we have to keep the arms and legs from becoming cold. Kasi sabi natin kanina, yung mismong cold temperature natin kanina, that could lead to vasoconstriction. And pag nagkaroon ng vasoconstriction, mas magkakaroon ng decrease in your blood flow, which is already the problem pag nagkaroon tayo ng sickling response or sickling process. And then next here, we have to decrease emotional stress kasi this one is, it could trigger or it could exacerbate your sickle cell crisis natin. Ano pa? We have to avoid tight loading that could impair your circulation. Of course, para sa ganun, okay po yung mismong blood flow. Hindi po nai-impede or na-occlude yung mismong blood flow natin. And pagdating sa surgery, pag talagang hindi na nakaya ng mismong spleen natin, kakagamit ng ating spleen because of your, tawag dito, dahil ang dami-daming nasisira ng mga RBC natin, okay, pwedeng magkaroon ng enlargement or engorgement yung mismong spleen natin. So, anong gagawin natin pag nagkaroon ng spleen, pag nagkaroon ng splenomegaly, si patient kailangan niya mag-undergo ng splenectomy or the surgical removal of your spleen. And aside from that one, lastly, we have to monitor for any signs of complications including your increasing anemia. Pag si patient nagkaroon ng profound anemia due to your hemolysis, ano pa, nagkaroon ng decreased perfusion, and eventually with your shock. So, how can we determine this one? How can we assess this one? Pag si patient, okay, na merong sickle cell disease, nagmanifest na meron na siyang mental status changes, okay, nagde-delirium, nagkakaroon ng restlessness, okay, what else, nagkakaroon ng apprehension yung pasyente natin. Okay, that indicates na meron siyang hypoxia, di ba? Early signs of your hypoxia. What else? Pwede siya magkaroon ng pallor. And then lastly, pag bumabagsak lahat ng kanyang vital or nagkakaroon siya ng changes in their vital signs. So, these are the interventions of our patient na merong sickle cell disease.